And we're back.
We're back again. I think I stopped at everybody in the room is not really a big fan of that hip hop there. I don't really mind it. I listen to that music, but and Brandon's never heard of Corey Asbury, which is a worship leader, and then Brandon's also heard that you say too many times already, so he's sick of that song.
Okay. Well, that's what happens when you grab a playlist on the fly. you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, you never know it also.
So anyway, speaking of playlists, let me go grab our playlist for today. And now, how should we do this? Because I again, I'm doing this all on the fly here as far as this portion of the show goes. You gave me a list of folks. I have the songs lined up in order of the list that you gave me. So we're going to be hearing from, well, do you have that list handy? I will let you introduce the artists.
Usually, I probably have to pull it up on the message there. So
Yeah.
Find the message for a second.
Sure. Yeah. Because I'm not going to pretend I'm the expert on this stuff. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I had to scroll up here. So the songs I had were the City Hour Niche from Toby Mac, and also Love Feels Like It from Toby Mac with DC Talk. Mm-hmm. And there was a Tate with a Spy and Altars Burn in Me. And Jesus Freak 2013 remastered. And then Jesus is Just Alright from DC Talk there. Mm-hmm. And it was scroll down here a second. It was I Will Be Here For You and Place in This World from Mike W. Smith, and I Will Remember You and Thy Word from Amy Grant, which you did play the music video for one of those songs there. Mm-hmm. And then it's like Dixon to Jesus, which also with DC Talk and Who's in the House from Carmen, who recently passed away there, which is a pretty sad news there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Carmen's one of those artists I remember from back in the 90s. Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he passed away, and I was doing a tribute to him for a bit there too. So
okay.
And there's I Still Believe and Lay Down My Pride from Jeremy Camp, and there's a Get Down and Clap Your Hands from Audio Adrenaline. And then what's at the end here? It was Home and You're Near from Brooklyn Fields. So this is a worship leader out of Canada there, and. Today is for me in my house, and You Shine live from Brian Dirksen, who's another worship leader in Canada there. Mm-hmm. And then there's Never Give In and King and Crown from All About Me, which is a Christian rock band that's actually from where I live here in Calgary here. So, mm-hmm. So that should be the whole list I sent you on there. So
yeah, that is the entire list. I'm looking at it. I did notice for some reason did not have Clap Your Hands by Audio Adrenaline. Just fix that.
Oh, you didn't have that song in there.
Yeah, just I just missed it, but it's in there now.
So, yeah, and Brennan's Ryan has to talk about the royal slap there. I guess he just wanted to forget us to do that before the end of the shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now I could just go ahead and play these songs, but rather than just do that, and you tell me, you guide me here. Are there some things about these artists that you would want to say talk about while before and or after we listen to some of them, or do you just want to go for it?
Well, we can go for it, but I can also talk about the different artists there too, because they all have different.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that because that's going to be more helpful for me.
Yeah.
And since I have them in this order, and the first artist that we have in the list is Toby Mac, and I've heard from everyone that you are a huge. Obviously, you're wearing the Toby Mac hoodie. You're a huge Toby Mac fan. Educate me about Toby Mac, because I was not familiar with him until recently. And I think it was because someone someone requested was it you perhaps who requested a Toby Mac song on one of my shows? I can't remember, but somehow somebody requested Toby Mac on one of my shows, and I played it and was blown away by it. The song.
Yeah, I think it was probably me on your Studio B show. The one song, and you said you really liked it there too. So.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That was the first time I'd ever heard Toby Mac, and didn't take. I mean, it only took that to convert me. I mean, as a fan, and so tell me about Toby Mac.
Yeah, well, he was part of the DC Talk group, which you mentioned earlier.
Okay, all right.
And then he, when they did an intermission there, and then they all did their solo album. That's when they all went their own ways and did their own albums there. Like some of them I had on the playlist there from like Tate. That was kind of his own solo albums there too. But Toby Mac started up with all his solo albums. It was probably back in 2001 there, which he came out with Momentum, and then there's Remix Momentum, and then he had a whole bunch of other albums there. But he's come up with a bunch of albums over the years. But I've been a fan of him. I first saw one of his videos on TV, and I really loved it there too. And then I just became a fan back then there too. But he's been doing his own thing. He likes to mix up with pop, rock, and funk, and hip hop, and everything is mixed all into. I think at his concerts there, he likes to say it's a whole bunch of gumbo there, and he likes to mix it all up together in his music and make sure that all his fans love it there too. So.
Okay, well then let's go ahead and let's play those two songs that you chose, City on Our Knees and Love Feels Like, which features DC Talk along with Toby Mac. And here we go. So the next artist is Tate, someone I have to admit I am completely unfamiliar with, so you'll need to tell me a little bit about Tate and what we're about to hear.
Well, this is from his first album called Empty, which just turned 20 years old now. I just was reading an article about it last night, and it was like at least 20 years ago, and it's his first album that he released, and it's got a lot of great songs on there. I think the music video for Alter's Burning Me, which I played on my show yesterday, and then Spy is a good song there too. The whole album's really good. His first album, he released another album called Lose This Life, which is his second solo album, which he a lot of great music on there. And then he also did a song with Rob Beckley from Pillar, which is a Christian rock band there. And it's kind of more like a rockin' song there. It was a really good song there. And then those are like two albums he did. And then he joined the Newsboys there. Those Newsboys were with Peter Fuller and Bill Joel there. But then they kind of want to do their own thing there, like their own solo albums and everything. So then Michael joined the group there, and then he's been with the group for even currently now. And then they did a United tour with all the band members together, with Michael Tate and Peter Fuller and Bill Joel and everything. So it's he's now currently with the Newsboys there. So he's the singer of the Newsboys there. So.
Okay, well, let's listen to Tate. We're going to hear from Spy and Altars Burn in Me. Spies is up next. Yeah. So anyway, we are back. We just heard from Tate and Spy and Altars Burn in Me. So up next on my list, oops, wait a minute, okay. Josh, are you there?
Yeah, it's still here there, Juan.
Okay. So up next on my list is DC Talk, and what would you now see? I'll just interject my own superficial familiarity with them. They're another one of those artists that I ran across watching late night television, broadcast TV in the 90s. And because, as I mentioned earlier, for those of you who might have just gotten here, I was a cheapskate and didn't have cable. So my, television options were limited to whatever was going over the airwaves. And during the 90s and on Chicago television, there were a couple of UHF channels that ran Christian music programs. And I found myself watching them occasionally and really appreciating the music from the late 90s, early 2000s. And that's how I was introduced to DC Talk.
Yeah, they've been around since the early '90s there, because they were. Their first album was a New Thing, which was the first album they did, and then there was like Free at Last, and then the Jesus Freak was their big one in 1995 there. That's one of the songs I selected there, and it was one of their popular songs there. And then Jesus is Just Alright is another good song there, kind of like a dance song there, but they've been around for probably throughout the 90s into the 2000s there, when they took the intermission and they released the intermission album, which is all like their greatest hits album. And they did a new song called Sugar Coated on there, which is a pretty good song. And then they had this Mr. and Mrs. Morgan on there too, which is some people I guess they knew there too. So
okay,
yeah, so they've been one of my bands I've been a fan of for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, let's listen to some DC Talk. First up is Jesus Freak. Am I supposed to sit here and just be like completely unbiased and neutral? And I know this is inappropriate to say, but man, that kicked ass.
Yeah,
that's why I was a DC Talk fan in the 90s. That's killer. I love that. That's the first time I've heard that. That is absolutely great stuff. That was whoa. Yeah.
Those are good favorites, because the more dance with the Jesus Just Alright, and then the Jesus Freak's more like a rock with a guitar solo there too. So
yeah. And at first I thought Jesus Just Alright. Okay, this is going to be like a cover of the Doobie Brothers tune. It's more than just that. I love that. That was good stuff. Yeah, really good.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure how many more songs we get through. It's we're going into Brandon's time here, but you said it was a pretty long playlist there too, so not sure how much more we're going to get.
Well, that's okay. You know what? If Brandon, if you don't mind, I'd like to do one more, because the artist coming up next is Michael W. Smith. I'm a little familiar with, but again, not nearly as much as I probably ought to be. And so, if you'll indulge us, let's get at least to Michael W. Smith, and then we will turn things over to DJ Slim Shaky and his multimedia extravaganza. So let's talk about Michael W. Smith.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time. It's probably must have been back in like the 80s there, and then he's the 90s there, and then he's also still doing music now too, because
cool.
He's still doing like worship albums and regular studio albums.
Right.
It's just still got great music. I did see him in a concert once before, and it was pretty awesome there too. So,
yeah.
And he's like a pioneer of the contemporary Christian music. Like Amy Grant was there.
Yeah.
He's been around a long time there. Both of those guys have been still doing music.
Exactly, because I remember Michael W. Smith's name in along with Amy Grant's from back in the 80s, and then we got Amy Grant, and then we got Carmen coming up, and oh my God. Okay, we'll try to restrain ourselves at Michael W. Smith, okay? But I'll tell you what, I'm chomping at the bit. Now, I already played the video for I Will Remember You, so maybe we can slip in Thy Word to wrap things up, okay? But let's start with Michael W. Smith and I Will Be Here For You.